You're 16 again. You'll relive every event in your life but with the experience you gained since. How do you think you could handle it now? I am now about 20 days younger. I will use my knowledge to steal this AskReddit idea. How dare you? Thanks for the idea. Plot twist, they're from the future and stole it from you. It's Reddit. Just wait a few days and ask at a different time frame. Ha, I'm 4 days older than you. I will do the same, but 4 days before you. OP will still repost it and get more karma and responses than you. Sorry. The perfect karma ninja. Based on the number of times this question has been asked, many people have already beaten you to it. The experience I gained in life for the past 30 some years since I was 16 would negate reliving every event at it. It's not like I would do everything completely differently, but I would approach certain situations differently of course, and that would inevitably lead to a different outcome. I've had a wildlife crazy book movie worthy experiences that I might not have had with a more tempered mind. What I did shaped who I am, and while I'm far from perfect, I'm content and enjoy remembering the times. The most important thing I can impart to any of you younger brothers and sisters is to have no regrets. If I went back to when I was 16, I would make different choices to end up at the same place. I like where I am, just not how I got here. I would avoid bad relationships and stupid spending. I would pick different study subjects for high school and my bachelor's degree. Not OP, but I wasted a year on a computer science degree before realizing I wanted to be pre-med. It's only a year so it's not a big deal, but I'd love to go back a few years and slap myself. I would have done my best to not be as crappy of a boyfriend. I have some serious issues with expressing my positive feelings for others. I know that now, but it has been a bumpy road, and damn if I haven't hated myself for how I have made my partners feel unappreciated when I loved most of them. Not you, Julia. You know what you did. Was going to say I've had a good run. No need to change. Then I remember the hundreds of Bitcoin I got for free that I lost playing online poker because there was literally nothing else legal to do with them at the time. So maybe I change one thing. Leave the house, for one. I wish I socialized more at 16. I don't think I really did again until I was 18. I was never home until I turned 18. 16 and 17 I was out being a dumb kid and barely passing my classes. My father will die in 6 days. At least now I can be by his side when it happens. My dad will die in 14 years time. I'll make sure I do go fishing with him at least one time. God damn, this hits home. My dad isn't doing so great the past couple years and I keep putting off going fishing. I really need to make that happen this spring. Hope you're doing okay, buddy. Yeah, my dad died a month after my 18th birthday. I'd tell him to go to the doctor as soon as I could. He sucks, man. Hope you're doing alright. Hitting the gym and kicking some asses. Why not start today? For me it's prison. At 16 I could break that guy's nose and it doesn't mean jail. Now I'm 30 plus, I'd lose my job for brawling. Yay. I think they were talking about the gym thing. No adult truly does not understand why you're not going around fighting people at random gyms. Just remove both negative and read like normal. Adults would understand why you're not going around brawling. Man. I'd be one annoying teen with excellent one-liners and sarcastic comments. Right, you'd have a head start on however many years of memes and jokes. Being years ahead on memes probably means you won't be funny though. I would totally crack under pressure. I would want to find my so immediately but can't because maybe if we met at 16 we wouldn't be compatible at all. I couldn't wait around for all the lovely things that I know are coming my way. It would hurt too much not to have them already. This is really sweet. I'm the opposite. I met my so at 16. We dated for 6 years, got married, moved twice, got a dog, had a baby. We were compatible then. I love my baby and I think sometimes I love him, but sometimes I just wish I could go back to my 16-year-old self and slap some sense into me. I had a very promising career ahead of me even at that age that I didn't know how to develop, and so mostly threw away because I wanted to hang out with my boyfriend all the time and watch movies instead. When we went long distance for school, he started lying or just concealing a lot of his life. That is, trying cocaine, smoking a lot of weed that he knew I wouldn't agree with. I didn't find out about it until after we married. 3 years later, we both slid into alcoholism. We got into horrible bad habits about how we treat each other, raising our voices, interrupting each other, sometimes insults. I just remember how he was at 16, just head over heels in love and the nicest, sweetest guy, and how it felt to be a teenager in love. It felt like the whole world was ahead of us. I didn't want to lose that feeling, so I stayed with him. But now it feels like the whole world has closed in on us. If I could go back to my 16-year-old self, I would never even go on a first date. I don't need relationship advice, thanks. There are some good times. Alcohol is not a presence in our home anymore. Marriage is a hell of a lot of work and a baby puts a hell of a lot more pressure on it. We really do try our best to be nice to each other, continue to go on dates, keep the spark alive. I don't let a low point scare me. I've just never really admitted out loud before how I truly feel. If anyone is 16 and thinks they have found true love, wait, you think you're fully grown up and you're the person you'll be, but you're not done yet, and neither is your so. Please, wait. I'm rooting for you. Thank you. You skidmark 666. I feel the same way, but I'm 11 years older than her, so she'd be 5. It'd be tough to wait all the way till I was 40 to meet her. The real problem here is having the maturity of a 41-yo but having to hang out with 16-yo friends. Plus not being able to drive or have any of the freedom of being an adult. What a ducking nightmare. Now, going back to 21-yo I could definitely work with. If it makes you feel any better, there are actual physiological differences between adolescent brains and adult brains, so you would be a bit more immature and less in control of your emotions even with the extra 25 years of life experience. It's 2001. I'm out of school, and the online freelancing scene is a lot easier. I take on some jobs so I can fund my activities and investments. I start skipping breakfast and working out more. I split my training time between dance and martial arts. When the time comes I'm gonna be the most dangerous pole dancer there ever was. I stop seeing the older woman I was seeing because I'm a different person in the body of his younger self, and that makes it rape by deception. I'll just wait a couple years till college and hook up with one of my teachers. I get therapy to deal with the grief of the 2 sons I left behind, and also with the guilt of knowing that there are plenty of serial killers running free and women being held prisoner in 2001. I can't really do anything. Not with just the memories in my head and the resources of 16-year-old me. I take an interest in my dad, who still has 5 years before the stroke that leaves him bedridden. I encourage him to exercise more, to get up and walk every 45 minutes or so, to not work so hard, because the extended family he's supporting past retirement age is gonna scatter to the wind once he's no longer there to be their cash cow. I get him the equipment he needs to set up an internet radio station, and I see about getting his comic strips published in book form. I'd only experience a couple of things, and the changes I make would create all new events. Those few events would be pretty easy to handle. Considering I just turned 17 2 hours ago, I don't think it'd be too different. Happy IRL cake birthday. I'm 19 now, but my life really changed when I was 16. That's when my mom was first diagnosed with cervical cancer, and being the oldest sibling, my brother 14 at the time, I was left in charge of quite a lot when things started looking bad. I was taking care of dinner, cleaning, and helping my mom around the house. I even started online school so I can be around more. By the time 2016 was coming to an end, it was almost Christmas and we had received this Christmas miracle that my mom was finally cancer-free after months of treatment. But just days later I had a nightmare that went like this from what I remember. My mom and I were on a little rowboat in the middle of two islands. She pointed to the land ahead of us and shouted we're almost there with the biggest grin on her face before the boat suddenly sank and I watched her float down to the bottom of the body of water. It was so vivid it almost felt real. Maybe it was just my anxieties about the previous months, but I told her anyways about the dream and she just shrugged it off and told me everything will be fine. She was cancer-free after all. But once 2017 hit, she started feeling a lot of pain in her back and would rarely get up. I still did school, I still helped around the house, but she started being less and less herself. That's when it hit the hardest that things weren't going to be okay. During the times she started fading, I distanced myself so much that I went from helpful to completely drowned in hopelessness, hiding away in my room, avoiding my mom's room like the plague. But then one day she couldn't stand the pain anymore. She had to be carted out of the house on a stretcher and rushed to the hospital, and after that whole scene, I continued to recede further into my safe space. I hid from my own dying mother. She must have thought I hated her. For so many reasons that I can't explain easily. I waited with my aunt and uncle all night to see my mom in that hospital bed, tubes all around her, in her throat, her arms. She was struggling so hard to breathe it was painful for me to just watch. I can't imagine the pain she was in. They had to drain I don't even remember how much fluid from her lungs. The cancer spread up her spine and to her lungs. And that's when they gave us the news. They gave her 3 weeks, at the very most, and she was sent home after staying overnight to be cared for in hospice so she can die at home, surrounded by family, except for her children. That she never got to say goodbye to, because I hid away. I forced myself and my brother to go to school that morning, knowing full well that we might not come home to her that afternoon. And we didn't. She was gone at 11:15 that morning on the 25th of May, 2017. If I could relive those years of my life with what I know now, I would have never stopped helping around the house. I would never stop trying to help her. I would never stop talking to her, encouraging her. I would never hide away or avoid her. I would stay home the day she died. I would let her know I love her so much and say everything I never let myself feel. I would accept family more openly and deal with the grief a lot better than I did. A lot better than I am right now even. I'm so lost without her in my life, and if there was anything I could do to save her, I'd do it in a heartbeat all over again. And gosh, this is a lot longer than all the other responses. I almost feel bad posting it, but here we go. I know never to date my first GF. That's 2011 for me. Can we make it 14 so I get the chance to say goodbye to my dad before he dies? Yes, we can make it 14. Red heart. Well, high school is gonna be easy as duck. I'm gonna punch Adam in the face. I'll buy some Bitcoin and become a gazillionaire. I'm gonna make sure Trump loses in 2016 with my own counter campaign from my billions of Bitcoin dollars. I would go for Bitcoin too and bet that Trump will win elections and win a ton of money. And you somehow trigger a butterfly effect that causes Trump to lose and all your money is gone. Still probably worth it. Really wished I bought some Bitcoin. I was there, man. I wouldn't waste 5 years in engineering and study botany. Also, I pity all the teachers that would have to deal with the me who realize nothing you do in high school matters. Oh, and Bitcoins. Lots of Bitcoins. I couldn't. I would honestly fall apart and get one of the suicide attempts right. Too much was done to me when I was far younger than 16. I would be a Bitcoin millionaire. Get a job ASAP, save for a car, then get a better job, get good grades in school and try to bang a few of my teachers. I know how to lay pipe a lot better now and I had some good looking teachers. Then enroll in community college ASAP, for accounting, At 18 I get a small inheritance, 18k, and instead of blowing it and getting hooked on drugs I'm gonna use that to buy a nice car, and pay for school so when I graduate I'm nearly debt free, move to the bigger city that has a better program, get an entry-level job in accounting by 20 while I finish school, 22 and I'll be a year away from getting my CPA. As soon as I get that I move to the big city close to where my wife, who I haven't met yet, lives. We met on Tinder so I need to be in her radius. We first started talking, matched right in the start of December 2015. All the work so far is so that we can have a good future. We meet. I relive our first date, but instead of going to the couch I was crashing on, I take her back to the house I have purchased. We duck on the first date this time. Cause apart from the teacher or two I banged while I was finishing up high school, I've been saving myself for her. After we date for a year, she moves in with me, and I transfer out of B4 accounting into private, putting all my spare money in Amazon stocks. It's still at about $200 per share at this point. I do this until 2017, taking different jobs offers as they arise to get that big payday. Secretly I have rented out the small economy one-room studio apartment that we conceived our son in. I take her to it one day after a big date, and tell her Kay thought it would be a fun way to mix things up in bed. We duck all day and night and I'm trying hard for pregnancy. I've avoided it until now, cause I'm scared, but it's almost time to retire and be a stay-at-home dad. I've put about 300k into Amazon and it's at about to hit peak soon, so I'm getting ready to retire with about 315 million after taxes. I haven't seen my 1-year-old son in about 13 years. A few weeks later she tells me that she thinks she's pregnant. I knew she was before she did. I know it's a 1 in a billion shot, but I just miss my boy so bad. He's half the reason I've done all this. We talk about names. I'm set on Atlas. She agrees that's fine. This time around the one grandpa he has left alive is gonna be in his life too, cause his son-in-law is successful and not a junkie heathen that stole his daughter away. We find out it's gonna be a boy. Atlas is going to be his name. He's born early January, a few days later than my son from before I went back to being 16 was, but that's because we could afford a better doctor who didn't want to induce labor a week early cause he wasn't sure if her placenta wasn't working right. It could still be him. I know it's crazy, but I just can't tell if it's him or not. Babies are so squishy and all I can tell is mine and my wife's, and I finally feel complete again. Not much else feels different except the joy of knowing I'll get to spend every day with him. I quit my job the next day and decide once the 20k we have in savings runs out, I'll sell all my shares and go talk to a few wealth management. It may be a little early, but should still be enough for my wife and I to get 1 million every year till we die, and another 100 years after that for my son. Maybe we'll have more kids, but right now, I'm just glad that we're all back together. Not much else to do besides beer. Dad and a husband and post on Reddit late at night. It would be easy to get rich, so that would be taken care of. I'd spend time bettering myself all around and use my money and knowledge to help people too. It'd pull the trigger. Now because your life was going to become worse or because it feels pointless? To have dinner that day looked good. I'd take the damn meds my Christian counselor offered me, instead of waiting 30 years since my mom didn't trust traditional medicine, skip expensive Christian college to get away from my parents, go to community college and get an apartment with my 2 high school BFs, who went on to be quite successful people, tell every idiot who said I couldn't do STEM because I wasn't good at math to go to hell. I would have made an excellent professional game environment designer. Now all I have under me is 4 different MMO servers I built for fun with a collaborative team of artists from around the world and no certifications. Joined the damn Air Force, even though my dad said no, even when I was 18. Again, I could have excelled in technology and STEM if I survived boot camp. Try to get a license and a job, go straight to community college and take care of my mental health. Give less of a shitty to bullies and tell them their lives will turn to complete shitty if they don't change and let karma take its course. Study better and get higher scores.